Dear friends, welcome to this evening session on the topic, to be religious today is to be inter-religious. This is our last talk on this year's topic. Our speaker for today is Dr. Rajashree Mohadikar. She will speak on our topic from the Hindu perspective. Dr. Mrs. Mohadikar is Assistant Professor in the Department of Sanskrit and Pali of the University of Pune from 1996 to 2019. She has taught mainly Prakrit along with Sanskrit and Pali. She worked in the Prakrit Dictionary project of Mohadikar Institute for 2 years, 1989 to 1991, and is currently working on 3 projects: Milind Aparna, Anand Sundari of Jnanasham, Prakrit Sataka, and Samarachikaha of Haribandra Suri. She has many postgraduate students working under her guidance and has attended and presented papers in more than 30 seminars and conferences, including some international ones. We thank you, Dr. Mohadikar, for agreeing to present your views on our topic this evening. I invite you now to make your presentation. After the talk, there will be time for questions and clarifications. Over to you, madam.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear, you're clear. You can put me.
Good evening, everyone. Hello to all.
Hello.
At the outset, let me thank the organizers of this lecture series, especially Father Peter de Cruz, for inviting me to share my views on this topic, which is very, very important in these modern times. I'm thankful to him for constantly being in touch with me, for fixing the date and time of this lecture, which was constantly postponed due to my health issues. Thank you, Father. Thanks to Father. It would be very apt to thank Father Ryan Rodriguez also, who happens to be my student in Prakrit in the Department of Sanskrit and Prakrit languages, for asking and inspiring me for this particular talk. I'm thankful to Ryan also, because he used to come to my place for discussing many issues in Jainism, Buddhism, and sometimes Hinduism also. Today I am supposed to talk on Hindu perspective of the religiosity. It would be interesting to understand first what is religion and what religiosity means. Religion, which is popularly translated or understood as Dharma, is very difficult to understand in its true sense. We know that nowadays the Dharma means actually religion or sects. It can be taken as synonym also for sect nowadays. For example, Hindu Dharma, Buddha Dharma, Jaina Dharma, etc. But when one tries to go to the root of the word Dharma etymologically, then we get to know that Dharma comes from the root dhru, which means to hold, to take up, to possess, to support, to nourish, etc. See, when we say Dharma, when we utter the word Dharma, normally the sectarian meaning only comes to our mind. But when we try to get dictionary attested meaning of the word, then it becomes indeed really clear sometimes and very difficult also sometimes to understand the exact meaning of religion or religiousness. Along with these meanings, namely to hold, to support, to nourish, etc., our own nature, that is svabhava, also means dharma. For example, we say that attacking is the nature, dharma of tiger. So there, your original nature, your original svabhava also can be translated as dharma. At the same time, important or fixed rules and regulations of conduct or behavior also is very important meaning of the term dharma. See, analyzing these terms, analyzing these meanings of dharma would be very interesting to understand the concept of religiosity, or to be religious is to be interreligious. Taking into consideration these meanings, it becomes necessary to define or analyze the term from different perspectives. In modern times, as I have said, the dharma is understood in the meaning of sect only, which is not the actual meaning of the term. Just now, as we have seen already, the different meanings of the term dharma, that would be not apt to take dharma only meaning in the meaning of sect or any path. The term actually encompasses the limitations or indulgences as a human being for the development of society, or we should say that for all living beings. This is very important to understand that dharma means actually working or thinking about the welfare and well being of the society. We all see around us that everybody wants to be alive. Everyone loves life, whether it is small creature or a human being, a deceased or despaired person or an animal. Everybody wants to live alive. This desire of being alive contains the knowingly or unknowingly the desire for being happy also. So, this is human nature, or this is everybody's nature, living beings' nature, I should say, that everybody is having, or we are having the desire to be happy and satisfied in our life. Everyone in this world is inclined to happiness or sukha and uninclined to misery or grief. Nobody wants grief or misery in his or her life. This particular inclination towards sukha and turning away from dukkha is the seed of dharma. So when I want to be happy, I should, or I always try to endeavor to make efforts in that particular line that gives me happiness. But at that time, while thinking about my happiness, it is my duty. That is, duty is also the meaning of the word dharma. It is my duty to see that whether I am not making somebody else uncomfortable or unhappy. Human beings and animals have the same urges. They eat, sleep, and copulate. Besides this, feeling of fear is also common to both. Animals are also afraid of people, persons, or any danger. A human being also is afraid of all dangers. Then, what is the difference between the two? It is adherence to dharma that distinguishes human beings from animals. Without dharma to guide him, man would be no better than an animal. Power to think what is good and what is bad, and ultimately choosing good from these two, from it is the special power bestowed to a human being alone. So our conscience, our discrimination power, our thinking ability to discard what is bad and accept what is good actually helps us in uh, obtaining dharma or religiosity. Dharma is established to build highly ethical society, which ultimately would lead to better understanding of living beings and the development of society. Therefore, we need to understand that the welfare of the society has to be the basic foundation at the root of dharma. When we try to understand dharma in its different sense, as we have seen all these meanings like to nourish, to hold, to support, to give shelter, looking at the development, growth, comfort of the society also is our duty. And duty, as I have already said, also is the meaning of the term dharma. Hinduism is one of the oldest religion in the world history. Let's see how Hinduism looks at the concept of dharma. Now here, just a minute. Now here, I would like to just throw a little bit light on this concept of Hinduism, because I'll be giving you some definitions. So to see those definitions, it would be better to understand. Hinduism normally is taken as the Vedic tradition only, and Vedic tradition consists of sacrifices uh, or some rituals only. Beyond these concepts also, actual Hinduism does not contain only sacrifices or only uh, rituals. I'll be explaining these terms a little bit later. Jaimini in Purva Mimamsa says, Chodana Lakshano Artho Dharmaha. So, according to this definition, dharma is that which is characterized by chodana, that is, statement of order or inspiration for an activity. See, activity in our life, in everybody, in every living being's life, is very important. When we undertake any action, whether good or bad, we definitely think about its result, its fruit also. So, Chodana Lakshano Artho Dharmaha, when this type of statement is given, so it is inspiring us for activity that we will have to take into consideration. So, if we take a call of this statement and think about the different meanings of dharma, we have seen, namely to support, to nourish, to hold, etc., then this statement would lead us to use our conscious mind and application of discriminating power before going into any activity. So, those such statements, they inspire us, they push us for activity. It is our duty to analyze our activity and to think in the light of all these meanings of the term dharma, which tell us about nourishment, about supporting or holding, or uh, our dutifulness, etc. So, what is our duty? I'll be coming to that point also little bit later. When one starts thinking over the development or growth, he should see that when he or she was a child, how he was completely depending on his parents for his physical and psychological growth. Slowly, as he grows, he widens up his borders from his parents to other family members, from family members to more and more outer circles. This border widens up gets more and more broad, and at last it covers the whole nation. This feeling of attachment and concern for others becomes so broad that it crosses the limits of caste, religion, state, nation, and considers the whole world as his family. That is vasudhaiva kutumbakam. This growth, qualitative growth, is actually dharma. So when we are talking about dharma, it is very much essential, it is very much necessary that we grow qualitatively and not quantitatively. So these qualities, what are these inbuilt qualities? That also we need to see. This minus or attachment as mine towards anything, living or living being or a thing, can be taken as attachment or love. As long as this love is overpowered by attachment, turns into delusion and therefore is bound in limitations. So when our attachment becomes an attachment into inverted commas and not love only, then it may turn into delusion, and that delusion will lead us to more further defects. Therefore, when this love becomes pure love, it crosses the boundaries of attachment. So when I have a pure love, I'll have love for all the living beings, all the things in this world, apart from whether it is my family member or it is somebody else. So we can see the characters of Lord Jesus, Saint Tukaram, or Saint Ramdas, these Maharashtrian saints, or any Kabir Das, any saint you can take for an example. So their love for the whole society, for the whole world was unwavering. And this love means actually dharma. The true form of dharma works beyond the limitations of creed, caste, state, nation, etc. This is called dharma in true sense. This is the complete development of dharma. So, dharma or religiosity is that which always is engaged in the well being or welfare of the whole humanity or the whole world. This religiosity later turns into religious nature, as the mind of human being is very timid and knows very well about his all actions. Whatever action I am undertaking, I am very much aware whether my action is good or whether my action is bad, and what will be the result of my action. Human being very cautious about the fruits of his actions, starts various activities like charity, austerities, meditation, worships, observing fasts or various vows, etc. As we all believe in rebirth and our future births depending on our karmas in this birth, as we are very much sure about all these things, that becomes inevitable that we start doing all these activities to reduce the intensity of our previous karmas. These activities then take the form of dharma, that is sects. Now see what type of austerities, what type of penances, what type of vows we are going to undertake, that decide what type of sect or which sect we are following. For example, if I am following all the rituals like yajna, yaga, sacrifices, or pujas, etc., then that can be Hinduism. If I am following the Jain tradition, then I'm a Jain. I'm following Jain religion. If I'm following Buddhist thoughts, then I'm following Buddhism. So our thoughts, our following the paths, they decide our ism. That is, ism is here thought process. These different sects help a man to achieve variety of goals, material as well as sometimes spiritual also. See, when I think about my karma phala, it becomes necessary or it becomes important for me that how far I can progress on spiritual path. And for that, I need some help of some principles or some thought activities which will lead me to this particular path of the spiritual evolution. Man has the capacity to think, hence is worried always about the results of his action. At this particular time, dharma, that is religion here, comes to his help. He can take decision for for observing the path he wants to select. Now, here the meaning of religious comes in picture. Supposing if I am follower of Hinduism, I am religious in Hindu perspective. If I am following Christianity, I am following religiousness of Christianity. As one is trying to follow some religiosity in order to gain some target, he has to take into consideration the true meaning of being religious. Now, here, what I want to say when I say religious is the actual meaning of those path of purifications, actual meaning of the principles which are given in that particular thought or in that particular sect. When Hinduism talks about yajna, yaga, etc., we need to take into consideration the real intention behind all these rituals. As one is trying to follow some religiosity, in order to gain some target, he has to take into consideration the true meaning of being religious. One has to make it sure that for his own selfish motive or motives, he is not disturbing others. We have seen already Chodana Lakshana Artho Dharma. It means your actions, your activities are very important. And they are important for obtaining some material or spiritual gains. But while attaining that, we have to make it sure that we are not hurting or injuring or disturbing other beings also. As we have seen what dharma means, it is always thinking for the well-being or welfare of the whole mankind. As our own sentiments, emotions are important, so are the others also. So, when I want to be very much happy, I need to understand this also that the living being in front of me also wants to be very much happy. So, when Veda Vachanas say Swarga Kamo Yajeta, which means one who desires for heaven should perform sacrifices. One should think of not disturbing others along with atmosphere and nature for fulfilling his own desires. So Swarga Kamo Yajeta is definitely a Veda Vachana which tells us that, which inspires us for doing these sacrifices. But that does not mean that I should disturb the whole nature, atmosphere around me, and I should torture other living beings for my own selfish motives. Here, being religious is not just to think of own desire, but to think of others' longings also. Here, dharma, that is your duty. Here, the word dharma means duty, is to prevent yourself from being non religious in terms of hurting others. So, if I am religious in actual sense, I should not hurt, I should not injure, I should not disturb other living beings. So, in such cases, being religious is to analyze religiousness or religiosity all the while. It should not be biased with prejudices and always open for more and more place for correction. So, when I want to be religious, I should make it sure that I am more open to suggestion and clarifications and making myself more and more correct and accurate in my observance. It should my religiosity should not be based on biased or prejudiced opinions heard from others' experiences. I should rely on my experience and at the same time I should try to understand others' view also. Religious or religiosity is always founded on two types of relationships. One relationship is human and nature, and second relationship is human and human. Peace and stability of the world is based on these two things only. In this perspective, while performing sacrifices, it is very essential that you rise high in maintaining the dharma. In Mahabharata Anushasan Parva, we get the line Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. So, it is our duty that we observe non-violence. So, we need to take care that for achieving our goals, we do not injure or hurt any living being. When we talk about himsa, when we talk about ahimsa or himsa, we should know that this himsa is of also two types, dravya himsa and bhava himsa. The ultimate goal of being religious is to attain moksha or salvation or liberation, whatever you may call it. According to Hinduism, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, these four are the goals of our human life. And moksha is most important and the last one to get. To attain this, again, we have to concentrate on statements like acharaha paramo dharmaha. Achara, Manusmriti says this, acharaha paramo dharmaha. So our duty, dharma, is to observe the achara, that is right conduct or right behavior. Our actions, as we have already seen, our actions, our intentions decide our karma phala. And this karma phala finally decides our destiny. Tradition and conduct of wise or unlearned people are the firm foundation of religion. We always try to follow the footsteps of these learned or wise people for being religious in true sense. So now when we talk about Hinduism, it is unavoidable that we do not take reference from Bhagavad Gita. So what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita also is very important. So nowadays for stress management, etc., also Bhagavad Gita is used. I'm not going into that particular point, but what Krishna has asked Arjuna, that is very important. When it comes to your duty, you need to observe your duty, but be pure in your intention. While thinking about being religious in Hindu perspective, we need to understand the base of Hinduism. The base of Hinduism certainly is the attainment of moksha through the various ways or paths, but having achara, that is conduct, and vichara, that is principles, as the foundation. This achara and vichara ultimately lead you to spiritual elevation. Of course, for attaining this accuracy in achara and vichara, one needs to control and discipline his mind. All passions like kama, krodha, man, maya, lobha, etc., are to be overcome for being matured in the sense of true religiousness. Being religious is not only following your own religion, but is to understand the principles of other religions and respect them in true sense. This mentality can be obtained through achieving the control over mind, because human mind or uh, our minds, they are tempted to get angry, to get fascinated, to get allured towards different attractive things. If somebody opposes me, I immediately get angry, or I make my mind prejudiced or biased for that person or for that particular entity. And this ultimately leads to the destruction of my discriminative power, which does not help me to be a religious person. This control finally leads to control over the six enemies in the form of Shadripus, namely Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsara. This ultimately helps one in clear vision and understanding thought process of others. So when we become successful in controlling these six enemies and our mind, which is very swift and very unstable, then we will be able to understand others' perspectives and others' views also. When through penances, austerities, observations of various vows and rules, one gets many spiritual powers, their use for selfish purpose should be completely avoided. These powers are to be used for the welfare of the society only. But actually, this does not happen. Respect for others, their religious observances, is much more needed in modern times. Modesty is the most desirable quality in anyone who wants to pursue the spiritual journey. These passions hinder one's journey to ultimate goal. Therefore, statements like Yatobhyudaya Nishresa Siddhihi Sadharmaha. This is the definition given by Vaisheshikas about Dharma, is also very apt and very important. It says Dharma is that from which we can attain the happiness in this and another world. Finally, contented mind, blissful mind is the base for good dharma, which we need to understand. Again, here we need to take into consideration the control over mind, control over these shadripus, help us to become santushta, that is, become contented in our mind. And once you are very much happy, very much pleased, then there is no chance, there is no opportunity for any of these shadripus to enter into your mind. And once your mind is cooled down, then definitely you can start your journey towards being religious. For reaching out this dharma, the concept of step-by-step elevation towards spirituality can be very much important. As you have heard the lecture on Jainism, you must have gone through the concept of gunasthanas, which is very important. So slowly and slowly, just as you all must have played snake and ladder, this particular game. So slowly and slowly you start going upwards, but there is a chance of slipping down also. So you have to be very cautious. So these gunasthanas, guna means qualities. So slowly and slowly through these rituals like observing vows, observing fasts, observing penances, observing some definite rules, you can achieve this control over mind and slowly travel towards complete spirituality. These gunasthanas help a soul to elevate in a proper way and ultimately to reach omniscience and get liberation. Accomplishing this, accomplishing these is not a simple job. So, achieving these gunasthanas, going through these gunasthanas is very difficult. One has to toil hard and train the mind to endeavor for this for this for this. Once you cross this, then your mind becomes stable and you can become religious in true sense, because then you gain the maturity which is very important for understanding others actions, others mind, others thought processes also. Being religious is nothing else but the right way of life in which we allow others also to enjoy their space. Human being has a special power or intelligence along with thought, that is good thought, discriminating power. When intellect is used with proper intention, it definitely leads to the betterment not only of ourselves but of the society and finally world also. I have already mentioned about Dravya Himsa and Bhava Himsa. Let me elaborate a little on this point. Our actions are always result oriented, whether good or bad. Results of our actions always decide our destiny. Himsa or violence in any form is always to be avoided. Dravya Himsa is physically hurting a being, and Bhava Himsa is hurting anybody mentally. Now, supposing if I slap a child, that slap can be healed. But if when I insult him, when I scold him in people, when I humiliate him in society, that particular scratch on his mind may lead to further bad results. And these scratches not only bind him, but these scratches will bind me also in bad karmas, and it will end into my various painful births in future. So in Jain concept, in Hinduism also, we have different types of meditations. Supposing at the time of death, that small child has anger for me when I have scolded him, and he dies with that thought, that may lead to very bad results for him also and for me also. So to avoid this, bhava himsa also is to be avoided, and it is never to be done. Himsa or violence in any form is always to be avoided. Dravya Himsa is physically hurting a being, and Bhavi Himsa is hurting anybody mentally or psychologically. Both these types are dangerous and are to be avoided. For understanding the view of others, one requires ample maturity and control over anger, pride, etc. As I have said, due to our religious practices, one may get, one may be bestowed with various spiritual powers, and these spiritual powers may lead to pride, ego, etc. So, there is a possibility that I may think or I may consider myself as a superior human being and may consider others as very low to me. And then this pride, this ego pushes me to behave in wrong way with the persons, not understanding their views, not understanding their actions in real sense, etc. And that will lead into not being non-religious in nature. So we do not hurt anybody intentionally or unintentionally. We have to be very much cautious about our actions, that we do not hurt anybody, not unintentionally also. This pride stops us from accepting and understanding the person in front of us. Dharma or religiosity has two forms. Here again, we have to think of dharma in different way. One is pure life and another is formal behavior, or can be called routine behavior, that is bahya vyavahara, that is the things which you can see from outer side. The first form is made of the eternal qualities like shama, that is forgiveness, namrata, that is modesty, satya, truth, and santosh, that is contentment. Such qualities, internal qualities, they naturally help you to go ahead on spiritual path. These qualities help us to rise high on spiritual level and finally help us to become a better person. In second form, we have things like idol worships, pilgrimages, honoring gurus, performing various sacred rites, observing vows, etc. Obviously, obviously, this second form also helps us. This second form also helps us to attain the inner qualities like Shama, Mardava, Arjava, etc. With the practice of these worships, puja, adara satkara, honoring others, being modest, etc. With the practice of these outer forms, we can achieve these inner qualities like Shama, Mardava, Arjava, etc., which are ultimately helpful to get higher state of human life, that is salvation. This journey can be understood as from saguna to nirguna, which is also a unique feature of Hinduism. See, it is indeed very difficult for a human being to concentrate on abstract, that is nirguna form. Hence, training and disciplining our mind to focus on gross and slowly trying to meditate on abstract. Just as for preparing a child for school, we start from playgroup. So, by disciplining and by training him from playgroup to 10th standard or 11th standard, this is a process. Step by step, we go ahead. Same is the process in Saguna and Nirguna Upasana also. So this upasana, this worship, this devotion towards our deity, our God, our object of devotion helps us in attaining these particular qualities. This type or practice slowly makes a man matured in nature. A person becomes religious and can understand other person's religiosity also. Such kind of elevation or development is possible in human birth only. So, in birth of animals, it is not possible because they do not have discriminating power, they do not have thinking capacity, they do not have that type of intellect to be applied. To achieve this, one has to work on association of mind, body, speech. Unless there is coordination of these three, which is called yoga, complete spiritual growth also is not possible. Modern saints like Samartha Ramdas, Sant Tukaram, Sai Baba, Lord Jesus, Lord Gautama, Lord Mahavira, they also have followed the same patterns and they have become the role models in the society. Samartha Ramdas, who is very famous and who is very modern, has given importance to mental and physical health also. See, writers like Kalidas and Gautam Buddha also has said that it is very much necessary to take care of your health for dharma sadhana, for attaining your spiritual goal. If your body is not helping you, if your body is not giving you support, then it is impossible for you to attain spiritual level. So, at the same time, he had never opposed to other sects, but never allowed others to disturb his faith also. See, keeping my faith without hurt, unhurt, does not mean that I hurt others' faith. I have faith in my principles. Let others have faith in their religion or in their sect. But this faith should not be a blind faith. Saint Tukaram, Gnaneshwar, Sai Baba were also very secular in a way, as they always considered or accepted a person as human being. They loved each and other person in same way as they would have loved their own family member. So, as I have already said that vasudhaiva kutumbakam, this particular concept is to be applied when the concept or the feeling of love comes in front of you. Through this manavachan kaya yoga, one can develop this quality of being a human. With the help of this yoga, one can subdue rajas and tamas and these qualities and increase the power of sattva. This definitely helps us to promote us to be a good human being. This further leads us to the process of true knowledge or enlightenment. This knowledge or enlightenment should not be helpful for making one proud or egoistic, but should always help a person to be on human level, which will ensure that he does not live an animal on animal level. So animals, when they think of their hunger, thirst, etc., they do not think of other things. But this is not the case with human mind. When enlightenment, that is omniscience, is attained, then one should always help society to elevate, to endeavor for spiritual path. This definitely will help him to raise him to the heights of divinity. Every religion, all religions have this facet. No religion has ever said that you should hurt other, or you should hurt, or you should disrespect the views of others. They may represent different systems of thought and philosophy, but their concern ought to be that man who requires help. In a Prakrit text, Karakanda Charyu, the line says, Paravya Bhavapahe Bhaviya Sar. So, Bhaviya Sar is the aspirant, and Paravya is a causal form used. So, a person, an aspirant who is desirous of salvation but unable to move on his own, one who has this ability should help to cross over this transmigration. If the person is not capable of doing something but desires to do that thing, one, obviously good thing, one who is capable should always render a helping hand to him. As a person who is ill goes to a doctor, many people suffering from the same illness are also there at the dispensary. Doctor has to treat each and everybody with the same involvement and love. At the same time, doctor keeps in his mind about the kind of medicines depending on the health enduring capability of each patient. For the same illness, one common medicine will be used, but supplementary medicine will be used according to the health issues or capacities of the patient. Similarly, all religions speak the same language. These religions say that man must be rendered good and that he must be invested with the qualities of love, humility, serenity, and the spirit of sacrifice. Investment into these qualities surely open one's eyes when blended with knowledge to respect other religions also. To be religious is not only respecting my own religion only, but to respect other religions also by getting the better understanding of their principles. Understanding a living being as a living being, respecting a human being as a human being is actually being interreligious according to me. Hinduism can be called as fusion of various beliefs as there are many gods worshipped in the society like Vishnu, Mahesha, Krishna, etc. Still they live together happily, allowing everyone to follow his or her own faith and not disturbing each other. So, religious is in true sense is Hinduism or Hindu beliefs in religious harmony. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam.
Father, I cannot hear you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
No, your voice is very low. Can you increase the volume of your voice?
Yes, full volume. 1 minute, 1 minute.
It is full volume.
Thank you, madam, for your exposition. Can you hear me or not yet?
No, I cannot.
Check your volume of the mobile.
Because my volume is full.
Okay.
1 minute, 1 minute.
It is full. Volume is full.
You also have volume is full.
Okay, others can hear? Anybody from the other members group, can you hear us?
Hear clearly.
Yes. See, the floor is open for a discussion. If you have any questions to
Or
ask,
clarification.
clarifications or comments to make, you are open. Yes. Prakash Jog.
Yeah.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Rajashree ji was kind enough to give a beautiful exposition of many of the ideas
I'm
in
really very
Hinduism.
sorry. I'm unable to
Wonderful.
hear you properly.
I think we can probably hear both of you all clearly. So I think Rajashree ji must check at her end if there is a problem.
Hi.
Hello. One of my friends, Ramdas Guru, who's from St. Vincent's, asked me to
माझ्या इकडून काही
join for
problem
this
नाहीये रे.
meeting.
प्रकाश, माझ्या इकडून काही प्रॉब्लेम नाहीये.
मला तुमचाही आवाज ऐकू येतोय आणि इकडनंही आवाज येतोय.
मी माझं जरा म्यूट करून बघू का?
हा, परत म्यूट करून परत ऑन करून बघा. Hello, is that better? Maybe you are at a greater distance. If you can get closer.
I think
Or-
I should change the place again so that if
No, ma'am.
connectivity is a problem.
Your audio is clear, video is clear. There is no problem with
We
the
can hear
connectivity.
you.
Check your
Yes.
speaker is in
Your-
loudspeaker.
yeah,
Loudspeaker.
the speaker, change the speaker mode and increase the in the volume area.
Volume is full.
Speaker mode.
Speaker.
Because we can hear you perfectly.
Now I can hear you.
Oh, that's great.
Good.
Yes.
Yes, Prakash, ask.
Yeah, please. My friend Ramdas Guru asked me to join, and it was such a great occasion. I have a link with St. Vincent's because I used to teach in St. Vincent's in 78. So it's a pleasure to join this meeting. I have heard Rajashree ji just now, and it was such a great explanation of many of the ideas associated with Hinduism. I would, can I go ahead and talk for a few minutes?
Ask.
Yes.
Ask.
Yeah. I would like to add a few things to her great views that she has already put forward.
Okay.
The word religion that is commonly talked of cannot really explain the word dharma that is talked of in Indian philosophy and Indian culture. It is more associated with a very high social and ethical standard, which is really what dharma is. So in that sense, when we talk of interreligion, this concept of what dharma is itself is more of a pan-religion that is expressed. The second aspect associated with this is that something that Yudhishthir in one of his replies said, that explaining dharma is very complex. It is nihitam guhaya. It's like walking into a cave where you can't really interpret many of the things. So, and then he goes ahead and says that Mahajano yena gatah so pantha, which means that it is great and intelligent people from everywhere. And what they decide to be good, to be a form of religion, is what everybody must accept. So it means that religion must change with time, and religion must accept good, beautiful things from all other sources of inputs and use them for its own mutual benefits and improvement. And that social change is a part and parcel of life at every stage. A few basic concepts, let me add. The two beautiful aspects are Runa and Panchamahayajnas. One talks of our realizing the debt that we have towards the society, towards the culture, towards other people who teach us, and the world in general. and to be thankful, as I learned when I was in a convent school. Thanksgiving is a part and parcel of everything, and praying at the end before your meals is a concept that's there at both ends, where we thank the Lord for everything that is available to us. And this is and humse humne wala is also a concept which is there in Islam. So sharing your food, sharing your thoughts, sharing your prayers, and working together is what is very important. And unluckily, that is the area that is not being stressed on when we talk of interreligion issues at present. One more difference that I would like to point out is that Hinduism is basically is not the idea like Abrahamic religions, where it is an idea that was proposed, or Buddhism, for that matter, which was proposed by one person, but it is a combination of a thought process that has evolved over a few thousand years, and it is still willing to change. And that is the beauty of what we can possibly gain, because it's not really a religion in that sense. It is ideal behavior. That is what dharma itself truly means in Hinduism. And as she pointed out, purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha is at the core, because that's what we all aspire for. We want to get some wealth, we want to live better, we want to live, we expect others to behave ideally, and we all aspire to get salvation in some form or the other. And so, for this, what is very important is a concept which is known as karma. And karma has originally come from the Hindu concepts of what karma is. Buddhism, in fact, Gautam Buddha was originally, before he created a new religion, he was still a Hindu. So his ideas were originally still from the scriptures itself. And karma then, which is brought to the forefront by Buddhism, is basically an idea of ideal behavior. And
Yes.
that I feel many a times is missing, because we don't seem to realize that when we want to talk of, we are in a world where everyone is together. I can't live without uh, any of you, any other than people all around me. So I must now adapt my religion to everyone who is around. And that is what I feel personally that inter religion should really come down to. Because tolerance and acceptance and being a little selfish and trying to get good things from others, why can't we become selfish and accept good things from others? And that, I think, uh, putting down, going to the greater extent of exposing the other cheek is what Jesus talked of. And that is missing nowadays. When
Yes.
somebody hits you on a cheek, you run behind him with a sword. That is the trouble. So we need to understand this as one of the basic ideas, that tolerance and understanding. And I feel that that is going to come only through education. And
Yeah.
education is the core of everything. So once you become aware, so one of the ideas in Hinduism which talks of the karma pradhan behavior, which is activity based behavior, and jnana pradhan behavior, which is through knowledge. And I
Yeah.
feel that an interaction of this sort, where we get beautiful ideas from all other possible religions, is going to help us to understand things better and come
Yes.
out with better ideas to improve. Because finally, one of the cornerstones of Hinduism is not dharma in true sense. It is ideal social behavior. And if it is
Exactly.
ideal social, and we are living in a society, religions will come, religions will change, society is bound to remain. Its norms are going to improve, and that is why, as it was talked of, uh, following the path of what the good ideals in front of us talk of. Which religion they come from is immaterial. Mahajano yena gataha sapantaha. That path is right, whichever the good people follow.
Yeah.
And that is what all our religions must be. So when I walk into a church, if I was in just a few weeks back, I was in Vasai. And when I walked into some of the churches there, or when I went to in Kerala at some places, when I walk into a church, I still feel the same feeling. Why can't we all have that great feeling of love and compassion which Jesus has talked of? Why can't we talk of all these ideas? And so I think interreligion is there. I'm sorry, I have taken a little more
Yes.
number of minutes than necessary.
So thank you for expressing your views. One or two comments is this. See, that idea of Hinduism is something which comes from outside. You see, it's a term which comes from outside. So we have different religions, different cultures in this whole area of to the east of the Sindhu River. You see, and it was not long ago where each of our religious groups, so because we have different gods and there have been wars, there have been so much of history, where we come after a period of time to settle and understand each other. Because Hinduism in itself, you can be like a charvak who has no god. So in Hinduism doesn't mean you need to believe in God either. So each one, because you see, we need to realize that our kind of understanding of reality of religion of the beyond is also conditioned to our own cultures.
Yes.
Okay, it is like today we say it is our software which is put into our computers, and we need to reboot our computers to get a larger understanding, as you well mentioned, because you see, at one level, we realize that every religion will tell you you need to transcend the self. On the other hand, we have now started using religion as an ideology, more and more of us versus them. So that is where the confusion is, you see, because no religion will tell you do a dharma for in the sake of dharma.
Yeah.
So we have to be clear about that. But what is important is I'd like to listen to the other people who are listening. So we'd like to request other people also to ask any questions or to share. Anyone in the audience, unmute yourself and please share.
It seems there is no question today because it seems that ideas were very
Clear.
well spread there. Anyway, harmonious living in society is very much important when we talk about being interreligious. And when I think that only my religion is great and your is not, then conflict is there, and that conflict disturbs the whole ethics of the society. And this we will have to take care of when we want to be interreligious. And when we see Hindu religion, when we see all these different isms like Shaivism and Vaishnavism and all these things, they live harmoniously in the society. So this is the core of any ism actually, to be interreligious. So you need to respect others' views also.
Would Mary like to speak? We have a person here, Mary Lean.
Sorry?
No, there's one of the audience there, or Sanjeev.
Yeah.
Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, Sanjeev Brar, would you like to say a few words?
I'm sorry, just wanted to ask a simple question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In today's scenario, where Hinduism and Hindutva are being bandied about, what is your take on this? Hindutva being the predominant theme with the current dispensation, and how does it marry with Hinduism per se? What is your this thing about that?
See, whatever political issues have been made for Hinduism nowadays, that is purely from their selfish motive. Hinduism actually is not this. Hinduism, just as I explained previously, it is imposing high ethical qualities in yourself and in your society also. So respecting myself as well as respecting your views also would be the pure ethics, and that is actual meaning of Hinduism. So understanding, maturity, the capacity to analyze your view is actually Hinduism according to me. So nowadays they are making this issue because they are trying to divide Hinduism, then Muslim, Islam, Christianity. They are trying to divide it, but it is from the political point of view. So that is not the Hinduism
Sorry.
in actual sense.
No,
According
I'm sorry. I grant you that it's a political stunt, and it is basically doesn't define Hinduism as such. But as far as those who are non-Hindus and those who do not understand this fine, how do you say it, distinction between Hindutva and Hinduism, for them it is difficult to understand. You see, because what is being played 24/7 on the media and elsewhere is Hindutva and not Hinduism. And for them to understand what exactly is Hinduism is become a major bone of contention now.
Exactly. So I would tell you that if you go to original texts, if you read some original text, there you will find this fine blending of these thoughts and principles, and that is achara and vichara. Because only vichara, that is principles, are not enough, and only conduct also is not enough. You have to have the blending of these two, and then only you can understand it. But for this, you need to read the original text and need to analyze the core of the text in actual sense without any prejudices or any biased opinions. Then only we will understand what is Hinduism and what is Hindutva. This is what I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Madam, being an educator for so many years, and you have been teaching Sanskrit and Pali and religious scripts also, I hope so. And how are you able to inculcate whatever you have spoken? I mean, just now Sanjeev sir already said there is a lot of fundamentalism and Hindutva instead of Hinduism, and a lot of disturbance in the society is also happening. Now, I am an educator, I'm teaching in St. Vincent's College. How can I impart the knowledge of core religious concept so that they become rooted in their own faith, their own religion, and at the same time respecting other religion, and as the topic says, to be religious is to be interreligious. How do you actually impart this?
See, fortunately, I was trained in traditional Vedanta, that is Sanskrit philosophy, that is Vedanta philosophy. Then I turned into Jainism, and then I turned to Pali Buddhism also. So blending mixture of these three isms which I read, it invoked my thought process. And then when I taught my pupils, then I myself have trained, or I should say, I myself have become free from all these prejudices that only Jainism is good, only this is called Hinduism, so Hinduism is good. So I always have tried to blend between in these three cores: Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism. And I have tried to clear the minds or doubts of the students also from this perspective, that okay, you can take any principle for Buddhism also, or Jainism also, or Hinduism also, and try to compare them. They are one and the same. Just as I gave you just now the example of the doctor who gives different medicines along with the same core medicine. So these are different ways to achieve your goal. So one has to be free from all these prejudiced opinions. Then only we can really reach to this particular point of understanding this interreligious. This is what I think, and this is what I have tried to help. See, my PhD guide, he was a Jain, but he was worshipping Ram, and he was worshipping Gautam Buddha also. So he had this type of interfacedness, I should say, which influenced me also in a way to think in different ways. So I should say that I have practiced this, and then I have tried to clarify these particular points to my students. This is only I can say for this.
Thank you.
Thank you for your exposition. I was also thinking, you see, the emphasis on Swadharma, where
Yeah.
each one needs to choose the religion which helps him to become a better person. You know, there's a nice interview between the Dalai Lama and another Catholic theologian.
Yeah.
And where this Catholic theologian was asking the Dalai Lama mischievously, which is the best religion? And the Dalai Lama laughing said, the religion which helps you to be a good person, that is the religion for you. You see,
Exactly.
you need to look at it that way, because
Yeah.
while we have a basic human nature, each one's swabhav is different, and you have to see
Yeah.
what helps you to take the path which will lead you to moksha or to God.
Yes. Yes.
I think we have to look at it that way.
Dharma can be taken in the sense of dharma can be taken in the sense of duty also. So when you are dutiful in your nature towards society, around atmosphere, etc., then that makes you a better person, and that is actually dharma. That is actually religiosity.
Because you see, in any society, you'll have
Yeah.
positive aspects and negative aspects.
Exactly.
So we need to, as you said, discern. We have to use our Sad Vivek Buddhi to discern what is right.
Exactly.
So you cannot
Exactly.
just do what others are doing, but see what is best for you.
Yes. Yes.
I think that is the challenge.
Yes.
So thank you, madam, for your wonderful presentation. And I want
Thank
to
you.
thank all the people who got involved asking questions, like Mr. Prakash and Sanjeev. Now, so this is our last talk for this current series. All the talks, as well as the earlier ones, this talk as well as the earlier ones, will be posted on our YouTube channel. I also want to thank the management of both institutions, St. Vincent College of Commerce and Sneha Institute for the Study of Religion, for this collaborative interfaith seminar. And of course, Gilby sir, who is always here to help us. So thank you, Gilby sir, the sir from the college here helping me. I wish to thank all the participants and their families for your presence and active participation during this talk and the earlier talks. Without you, these talks would not have been possible. We will now end with a praise song, It's Amchi Pratna, by Sani Guruji's words are from Sani Guruji.
हीच मुची प्रार्थनान हेच मुचे मागणी हीच मुची प्रार्थनान हेच मुचे मागणी
अंधार दुःखाचा जरी सूर्य सत्याचा उद्या उगवेल आहे खातरी तोवरी देई आम्हाला काजव्याचे जागणे माणसाने माणसाशी माणसास वागणे हीच आमची प्रार्थना लाभले आयुष्य जितके ते जगावे चांगले पावले चालो पुढे जे थांबले ते संपले घेतला जो श्वास आता तो पुन्हा नाला पडे माणसाने माणसाशी माणसास वागणे हीच आमची प्रार्थना हेच आमचे मागणे माणसाने माणसाशी माणसास वागणे हीच आमची प्रार्थना.
So thank you and good night to all of you all, especially ma'am. Thank you very much for your presentation. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.